Welcome to another episode of On the Road with JVW. This is a special Alaska edition. We are in Alaska, Chitina, Alaska, and we are about to drive the McCarthy Road, which is a 60-mile gravel road that will take us to Wrangell-St. Elias National Park. As you can see, appropriate disclaimers for the road. We have checked with the powers that be, including the park ranger, and they've said, yeah, it's probably fine to take the van on this road. So we're gonna do it. We've seen other people that have done it online, and it's a narrow, twisty road, and catch some footage on the way. It's gotten windy and cool here all of a sudden, so we're gonna get started. So right off the bat, the road announces itself with this very narrow passageway between two cliffs where there's room for one vehicle at a time, hopefully one camper van at a time. Here we go. Hold your breath, suck it in. It's a bit of a tight squeeze. All right, first obstacle out of the way. We're in now. Let's keep going. We're about 5 miles into the road now. So far, so good. Actually, some of it's been paved, sort of. Rough pavement, obviously, but some pavement nonetheless. But at any rate, we've quick stop to catch a few glimpses of the scenery here. This is why you drive this 60-mile gravel road. See things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Let's keep trucking on. We're about 17 miles into the road so far, fairly uneventful, mostly paved, contrary to what the park ranger told me, who she said none of it was paved, so she may need to come out and drive the road. But we've reached sort of the first gulp moment, if you will. We're about to drive across that bridge that you see there in the distance. It's a one-lane bridge, a wooden bridge, so far as I believe, wooden floor, and it's pretty high up, so it gets your attention. It's worth at least stopping and kind of surveying the condition, but so far, good drive. We're taking it slow. I think top speed I hit was 40, but that was pretty unusual. Usually I've been keeping it around 25 or 30. It's slow going, but so far the road has been good overall. Okay, here we go. We're driving across the Kuscalana Bridge, 238 feet above the Kuscalana River. One-lane bridge. Looks to be all clear above. Here we go. Turning back now, wooden floored bridge. Wrangell Mountains up ahead. And I gotta admit, this has been the first real knee-knocking section of the drive. And it's not so bad. Almost to the end here. Alright. Breathe again, we made it. We'll get out, take a few shots of the bridge here. So here's a little closer look at the bridge. And the surrounding scenery. Pretty country. I think I may have said in one of the last clips that the road was good. Good's a bit of an overstatement. It's good compared to what I expected. It's certainly been better than expected, and quite frankly, there was a stretch of the Alaska Highway, the last section in Canada, that I'd rather drive this road than drive that road again. That was pretty rough. Let's keep rolling. We're at mile 44 of the road, so we're almost 3/4 of the way there. We're about to cross the Lakina River on this bridge here. The road definitely gets rougher after the bridge that we saw earlier, the bridge at the 17-mile mark. We pretty much left the pavement behind after that. Gravel, dirt, washboard. You just have to take it slow, which I've really done. Slower than pretty much everybody else I've seen on the road. There's not a ton of traffic, but you know, anyone I've seen coming my way has passed me. I've seen a fair number of other camper vans and larger RVs, and most people are moving pretty good on this road. You know, the speed limit's 35, and most people seem to be doing that. So maybe I'm just a nervous Nelly with the van, but you know, if I was driving the Jeep or something a little more rugged, it'd be different. But at any rate, we're making it. I've got the day, so no need to get in a hurry. Alright, so we have arrived at a pay parking lot. I think there's another parking lot that's a little bit closer, but that one's $5 for the day. And being who I am, and after 3.5 hours of bumping and shaking and jarring in the van, it feels good to get out and walk a little bit. So I think probably I mean, you're gonna have to walk anyway, because there's another lot up here, I think, and then you have to park there and then walk across a footbridge and walk a half mile or so into town, or there might be some kind of shuttle you can pay for. But we're in a national park, so it seems like we ought to do a little hiking, even if it is just along this gravel road. So we're gonna finish out the road here on foot, go into McCarthy, see what there is to see. Probably from there go on to Kennicott, which is 5 miles from McCarthy. You cannot drive there, so you either walk or you get another shuttle. And from there there's some hiking. There's a glacier, Root Glacier, that I think I'm gonna hike. So if we do that, we'll put that on another video. So watch for that. But we will take another couple more shots once we get to the bridge and then to town. So stay with us. Okay, we arrived at the footbridge, which will take us across the river and then on into town. Right next to it is Kennicott Base Camp, which is another pay parking lot, and there are also some camping spots here to park here, and it's only a 1/4 mile down the road from where we park. Park here is $10 for the day, so 1/4 mile walk saved us $5. How about that? And then the camping is pretty much, you know, pick your spot along the river, and it actually might be a pretty good spot to camp. We might have to check it out. It's dry camping, self-contained only. I don't even think there's restrooms here, but those are some amazing views there. At any rate, the scenery speak for itself. On into town. Still walking into town, come across this church here, McCarthy Kennicott Community Church. Pretty cool. Just past the church is a little airstrip here, and overhead, small plane, not sure where he's heading. So, there is an alternate way to get here, I suppose. So apparently they get their drinking water, community drinking water, from this little creek here. Flowing pretty good today. I believe we're almost into town. I think this is closer to a mile than it is a half mile, but so be it. So if you find yourself in Alaska and you're considering coming to Wrangell-St. Elias National Park, first of all, it's the largest national park in the United States. It's also one of the few in Alaska that you can access via automobile. You can drive here, as I did. There's another, in addition to the McCarthy Road area, which I think is where most of the visitors come to. I think there was another entrance that goes into some hiking trails that passed on the way. But McCarthy, I believe, is kind of the main attraction here, unless you're doing some backpacking and multi-day hikes. We're all about shortcuts, so we'll take the shortcut here on the way in, at least get a little forest view. At any rate, so if you're considering coming here, don't let the road deter you. It's not an easy drive, that's for sure. My advice, for what it's worth, would be you just have to take it slow. I took it extremely slow, and it took a long time. It took 3.5 hours for me to get here. I think most people make it more like 2 to 2.5. Now I had some stops there for a few pictures and such, but yeah, most of the time I was just slow and steadying the way through. And if you're not driving a camper van, probably drive a little faster. If I was in a Jeep SUV, then certainly would have driven faster. Although, like I say, I saw people in similar vehicles as mine who were moving a lot faster. So I guess it just depends on how comfortable you are driving on that sort of terrain. So, largest national park, one of the few in Alaska that you can access by driving to. Several of the others you have to either fly in by a bush plane, often landing on the water, or take a boat. So, this is one that I would definitely say should be on your list if you're coming to Alaska, because the boat and bush plane options are obviously a lot more expensive. They do have several lodges, hotel here. I did look at the pricing on those. Most of them were rather pricey, think the cheapest I saw was maybe 170, something like that. This backpackers hotel I think was cheaper, but it was all booked up. But I believe there's a couple of restaurants, bar type establishments here as well. No doubt some t-shirt shops. And then Kennicott is an old mining community. So we'll eventually make our way down there. Doesn't look like a whole lot going on. This may be a later in the day type place. They also encourage dogs to be unleashed here, so that wouldn't work for my dog, but it might work for yours. So that's the McCarthy General Store. Also has a bakery and ice cream shop. We went with the bakery, chocolate chip cookie and a Diet Pepsi for about the same price as what you get similar items at Panera. So not a huge upcharge considering how remote the location is here. You see, not all the dogs are happy to see each other. But this guy seems pretty friendly. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. So, look at the Golden Saloon, which Toad opens at 2 o'clock. Restaurant next door to it. Looks like it opens at 3. So, it's more of a late afternoon, evening crowd here, I guess. That looks like the t-shirt shop there. And we're going to continue walking out of town. Stay with you for just a few more moments while we see if there's any other attractions here in McCarthy before we start the hike to Kennicott. It's the sort of place where the few locals that there are probably have a story. It seems like they'd have a story. As I mentioned, you can fly here. There are actually, other than the road, you can take a shuttle from one of the surrounding towns if you don't want to drive the road yourself. I looked into that. It was right at about $100. I don't remember if that was round trip. I think it was round trip, $100. So, not awful. Hey. Then of course there's the option to fly from various places, which of course is going to be a lot more than $100. Or you can drive the bumpy road. I will say this for the road, other than the terrain of the road, the bumps, the washboard, the gravel. There weren't hairpin turns or anything like that that you'll see on some mountain roads. So it wasn't really a white knuckle drive from that standpoint. The bridge that I showed you, that was a little anxiety inducing, I suppose. But beyond that, it's just a test of endurance, I think. So looks like kind of the last stop here in McCarthy is the Historical Museum, which is open. So we might poke our head in there, but that's going to conclude this episode on the McCarthy Road. We will go up to Kennicott, and as I said, if we hike the glacier, that'll be a different video, so watch for that. But that's going to do it for this McCarthy Road edition from Wrangell-St. Elias National Park in Alaska. Thanks for watching. So just a quick addendum to the McCarthy tour video, the McCarthy Road and tour of the town video. First of all, I should say we're coming to you live from Kennicott Base Camp, which I showed earlier a clip of. It's a little campground here with basically no facilities. There are outhouses, and as you can see, I've got a coveted outhouse slash glacier view from my campsite, so that's really hard to beat. But at any rate, when I left off on the video earlier, I was heading into the Historical Museum. Did go into the museum, had a nice talk with the lady who runs the museum, and got to pet the museum dog, whose name is Maggie. Be careful not to let Maggie out because she likes to chase bicycles, apparently, and I guess that's a bad thing. At any rate, the nice lady that runs the museum dished a little history, as you would expect from someone who runs the historical museum. So there are currently somewhere between 50 and 75 year-round residents here in McCarthy, most of them related, most of them members of one particular family. That family, she said, has poured some money into the community, including building a bridge that cars can access for local residents. Apparently that's somewhat controversial because now they have some traffic in town and a bit of a parking problem. So at any rate, what little small town's not without controversy, I suppose. But anyway, I wanted to just real quickly show you the tour, or show you the view from the campsite. Just on the other side of that outhouse is a lake, and from there even better views of the glacier. Those spots were already taken here, first come first serve, but you know, I was a little surprised that the outhouse view was still available, so I jumped right on that. Actually, it's a pretty spectacular view. I don't mind looking at the outhouse, and it's nice to have the proximity, I suppose. And you can see we're just kind of surrounded by mountains here, and I'm just sitting right outside of my van, staring at this glacier, and pretty spectacular. So really fun day here in McCarthy and Wrangell-St. Elias National Park. Decided to spend the night here rather than drive the road back tonight. We'll save that for the morning. Thanks again for watching.